My precious child, listen carefully. This is not an ordinary message. This is your last test. Archangel Michael says, God has sent a fortune check for you. If you skip this, it goes to someone else. You have 1 minute left. Do you feel that sudden shift in your spirit right now? Because heaven just moved. There are moments in life when everything hangs on one decision, one pause, one response. And this is one of those moments. What you are about to hear is not random. It is not coincidence. It is not an algorithm. It is a divine interruption. Archangel Michael stands at the gate of your destiny right now, sword lowered, but eyes fixed on you. Not in anger, but in urgency. Because a transfer has been approved in the spiritual realm. A blessing has been released. A fortune check has already been signed in your name. But here is the test. Will you recognize it? For weeks, maybe months, you have felt pressure. Financial pressure. Emotional pressure. A strange silence after long prayers. You asked God for relief. You asked for breakthrough. You asked for a sign that heaven still remembers your address. And now heaven is answering. But the enemy of distraction is whispering, scroll. Ignore. Later. This is why the message came with urgency. You have 1 minute left. Not because God is impatient, but because destiny responds to awareness. Blessings require alignment, and alignment requires attention. Archangel Michael says there is a divine envelope hovering over your household. This fortune check is not just money. It represents restoration. It represents repayment for tears nobody saw. It represents compensation for loyalty when you could have quit. But there is something you must understand. Every major blessing comes wrapped in a test. Before David wore the crown, he faced Goliath. Before Joseph touched the palace, he endured the prison. Before you receive the fortune, you must pass the final moment of obedience. The test is simple, but powerful. Will you believe before you see? Heaven has observed your endurance. The nights you worried about bills. The quiet moments when you wondered if God forgot you. The times you smiled in public but cried in private. None of it was ignored. Archangel Michael is speaking clearly. The fortune check is already written. The signature is divine. The amount is beyond what you calculated. But there is a spiritual law. Blessings flow toward those who stay spiritually awake. Right now, distraction is your real opponent. If you skip this moment, if you treat this as noise, if you let doubt close your heart, the opportunity shifts. Not because God wants to punish you, but because divine assignments are time-sensitive. When one person hesitates, another steps forward. This is why this is your last test. Not the last test of your life, but the last test before this level changes. There is something about your house. Yes, your house. The place where you are living. Archangel Michael reveals that your home hath been under observation. There were spiritual blockages hovering around it. Delays, stagnation, repeated financial cycles. But tonight, a clearance order has been issued. A fortune check is connected to your location, to your address, to your obedience in this hour. You may say, how can listening to this change anything? Because faith activates transfer. Heaven does not respond to panic. It responds to agreement. Right now, God is looking for agreement in your spirit. Not perfect understanding. Not full clarity. Just agreement. Say within yourself, I receive what heaven has prepared. The last test is above attention. The last test is about trust. The last test is about whether you still believe that God can do something sudden. Archangel Michael is not whispering gently today. He's announcing, this is urgent because what is coming is sudden. Financial doors that looked locked will open without warning. I expected approval, a release you did not see coming. But the enemy hopes you dismiss this moment. Because if you pass this test, your season shifts. Feel the seriousness of this. Not fear, seriousness. This is not about superstition. This is about spiritual timing. The divine realm moves in windows. And this window is open right now. The fortune check is symbolic and literal at the same time. It may come through unexpected channels, a person, an opportunity, a debt repaid, a contract approved. But its release is tied to your readiness. Archangel Michael says, stand firm. Do not doubt in the final seconds. You are closer than you think. Closer to relief. Closer to overflow. Closer to proof that heaven has been working behind the scenes. This is your last test before testimony replaces tension. And something inside you already knows this message found you for a reason. Chosen vessel. The atmosphere around you is shifting even now, and you must understand why this moment feels heavier than usual. Archangel Michael is not speaking about ordinary money. He is speaking about divine transfer. When God sends a fortune check, it carries more than numbers. It carries restoration, authority, and proof that your waiting was not wasted. But here is what heaven is watching closely: your reaction under pressure. There are people who almost received their breakthrough, but they failed in the final seconds because they allowed doubt to speak louder than faith. This is not about superstition. This is about spiritual maturity. The last test is designed to reveal whether you have grown beyond fear. When pressure increases, that means promotion is near. When urgency appears, that means movement has already started. You have been in a season where everything felt delayed. You prayed, but nothing moved. You worked hard, but results seemed slow. You trusted, but circumstances tested you again and again. Yet behind the scenes, accounts were being balanced in your favor. Debts in the spiritual realm were being cleared. Rewards were being calculated. The check was being prepared long before this message reached your ears. Archangel Michael says there was a council in the heavenly realm concerning you. Your endurance was discussed. Your loyalty was acknowledged. Your tears were recorded. And a decision was made. God approved a fortune that matches your perseverance. But every approval requires participation. You cannot sleep through your own blessing. This is why you feel alert right now. This is why something inside you refuses to scroll away. Your spirit recognizes alignment. The enemy tried to exhaust you before this moment. Tried to make you numb. Tried to make you careless. Because if you become careless, you mishandle what is sacred. The fortune check is connected to responsibility. If God increases you, it is because He trusts you. If God expands you, it is because you have proven faithful in small things. And this final test is about gratitude before gain. Can you thank God before the money arrives? Can you believe before the proof shows up? Your house is not random in this story. The place you live has been under spiritual review. Cycles of lack were identified. Generational patterns were noticed. And Archangel Michael has been assigned to guard the release that is coming to your address. But distractions are still attempting interference. Right now, make a conscious decision to stay engaged. Stay aware. Stay spiritually aligned. And if this message is stirring something inside you, do not stay silent about it. Like this video as a sign of agreement. Share it with someone who needs hope. Comment your faith declaration below. Subscribe to this channel and become part of this movement where heaven's messages are released boldly. When you engage, you are not just supporting content, you are amplifying a prophetic sound that might reach someone on the edge of giving up. Understand this deeply. When you participate, you align yourself publicly with what God is doing privately. There is power in agreement. There is power in saying, "I am ready." Heaven responds to bold faith. The test is almost complete, but something crucial is about to be revealed. The fortune check is not only about increase, it is about exposure. Exposure of hidden favor. Exposure of silent enemies. Exposure of doors that were blocked unfairly. When this check clears, people around you will realize that your success was not luck. It was divine orchestration. Archangel Michael says you are being observed in this final stretch. Observe it. Your response right now determines how quickly the transfer manifests. Gratitude accelerates. Doubt delays. Awareness activates. There is a reason the message said you have 1 minute left. In the spiritual realm, a minute represents a decision window. You are in a decision window. Choose faith. Choose expectation. Choose agreement. And hold on, because what is about to be revealed next will make you understand why this had to feel urgent. You will see how close you truly are. Faithful heart, there is something deeper you must now understand, because the urgency you feel is not pressure from fear. It is momentum from heaven. Archangel Michael is revealing that this final test was never about whether God would provide. It was about whether you would remain spiritually awake long enough to receive what has already been approved. The fortune check has your name written on it in the unseen realm. It represents repayment for seasons where you were overlooked. It represents restoration for opportunities that slipped through your fingers. It represents divine compensation for loyalty when quitting would have been easier. But there is a spiritual principle at work here that few people truly grasp. Increase requires identity alignment. If you still see yourself as lacking, you will sabotage abundance. If you still speak like someone defeated, you will delay victory. This last test is about stepping into agreement with how heaven sees you. Archangel Michael says there was resistance against your blessing, not because you are weak, but because your elevation affects more than just you. When you rise, your family shifts. When you prosper, your bloodline resets. When your house receives overflow, generational cycles break. A fortune check is not small. It is strategic. This is why distraction tried so hard to pull you away. The enemy knows that if you remain focused in this moment, you cross a threshold. And thresholds are irreversible. Once you step through, you cannot go back to the old level. Think about the battles you have survived. The financial strain. The unanswered questions. The nights of uncertainty. Yet you are still here. Still believing. Still listening. That alone proves you were built for elevation. Archangel Michael declares that God has observed your stewardship in scarcity. You managed little with integrity. You gave when you had less. You prayed even when answers were delayed. And because of that, the fortune check is not a random blessing. It is a reward aligned with divine justice. But here is the revelation. The last test was never about money. It was about trust. Do you trust God enough to receive without guilt? Do you trust God enough to step into increase without shrinking yourself? Some people unconsciously reject blessings because they feel unworthy. It ends now. Heaven does not make mistakes in assignment. Your house is about to experience visible change. The atmosphere that once felt heavy will feel lighter. Opportunities will begin to approach you instead of you chasing them. Conversations will shift in your favor. Archangel Michael is standing as a guardian over what is being transferred to you. And there is another layer to this message. The 1 minute left was symbolic of urgency and obedience. You responded. You stayed. You listened. That act alone demonstrates readiness. Many would have scrolled. Many would have dismissed. But you remained present. Heaven honors presence. Right now, say quietly within yourself, I am aligned with my divine increase. Feel the authority in that statement. Feel the shift in your posture. You are not begging for crumbs. You are stepping into inheritance. The fortune check may manifest in ways you did not predict. It may not look exactly how you imagined, but it will carry unmistakable confirmation that God remembered you. And when it arrives, you will know this moment was preparation. Archangel Michael says your obedience in this final test has activated acceleration. What was scheduled for later can now come sooner. What was delayed can now be expedited. Divine timing has adjusted because you chose faith over distraction. Receive this clearly. You did not miss it. You did not forfeit it. You passed. And now seal this moment with agreement. Type I receive my divine increase in the comments if this message resonates with your spirit. Blessing code 818 has just been released over your household. And as you step into this revelation, understand something sacred. When you sow into a message that awakens souls, you participate in expanding God's light. Scripture declares, "Give, and it shall be given unto you." And that is not distant history. It is God speaking directly to you right now. When you choose to release a super thanks, join membership, or send a PayPal seed through the link in the description, you are not funding a platform. You are fueling a harvest. I hear you saying in your heart, I want to be part of what God is doing, and this is your moment to act. As this fortune check is released in your life, so is one who expects open heavens. Those who pour into God's work will see oil flow in their own house. Step forward boldly and seal your agreement through your giving today. Beloved soul, now that you have crossed that invisible threshold, the atmosphere around your destiny is no longer the same. Archangel Michael is revealing that what just shifted was not emotional. It was legal in the spiritual realm. There are moments when heaven issues decrees, and there are moments when those decrees are activated. You are standing in activation. The last test exposed something powerful about you. It proved that you are no longer reacting from fear. In past seasons, urgency would have made you anxious. Pressure would have made you retreat. But this time, you leaned in. This time, you listened carefully. This time, you chose faith instead of skepticism. That is growth. And growth qualifies you for greater responsibility. The fortune check that God has sent is tied to timing. Timing is sacred. There were years when you were not ready for this level of increase. Not because you were unworthy, but because your character was still forming. Wealth without wisdom destroys. Influence without humility corrupts. Expansion without discipline collapses. But now, your endurance has built capacity. Archangel Michael says heaven trusts what it has developed inside you. The storms you survived were not punishments. They were training grounds. The delays were not rejection. They were refinement. You were being strengthened quietly so that when the check arrived, you would handle it with integrity. There is something else you must recognize. The fortune check is not just financial, it carries authority. With it comes new decisions, new visibility, and new influence. Doors that once ignored you will now respond differently. People who overlooked you will reconsider. But do not allow sudden favor to distort your focus. Stay grounded. Stay grateful. Stay aware that this came from God. Your house, which once felt like a place of survival, will begin to feel like a place of strategy. Ideas will come more clearly. Peace will settle more deeply. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian not only over the blessing, but over your mind. Because the greatest battles at this level will not be external, they will be internal. You must guard against self-doubt. When increase comes suddenly, it can feel unfamiliar. You may question whether it will last. You may wonder if it is too good to be true. That is where maturity must speak. Remind yourself that heaven does not tease. God does not approve what he intends to withdraw. If it has been released, it is meant to remain. There is also a warning wrapped in wisdom here. When your fortune manifests, not everyone will celebrate. Some will question. Some will minimize. Some will try to attach themselves to your rise. Archangel Michael advises discernment. Increase reveals true intentions around you. Pay attention to patterns, not promises. But do not let caution turn into suspicion. You are not called to fear people. You are called to move wisely. The same God who released the check will provide discernment for stewardship. Another layer of this test is unfolding now. The first phase was attention. The second phase is preparation. Are you preparing your mindset for overflow? Are you organizing your life as someone who expects expansion? Faith is not only believing, it is adjusting. Begin to speak differently about your future. Stop describing yourself as stuck. Stop rehearsing old disappointments. Words shape expectation. And action aligns with manifestation. Archangel Michael says something profound. The fortune check is evidence of transition. You are moving from survival to stability. From barely enough to more than enough. From hidden to visible. This transition may feel unfamiliar, but it is necessary. And here is the deeper truth. The reason this had to be your last test is because you cannot carry old insecurity into a new season. You cannot doubt at the door of abundance. The test cleared lingering hesitation. It strengthened your spiritual reflexes. Heaven is not finished yet. There are confirmations coming. Small signs first, then larger evidence. Pay attention to unusual conversations, unexpected emails, sudden ideas, and open doors. These are not coincidences. They are indicators. Archangel Michael stands firm in declaration. What God has initiated cannot be reversed by distraction now. You have crossed into awareness. You have aligned your spirit. You have agreed with heaven's decree. Let peace replace urgency now. The window has been secured. The check is in motion. What remains is faithful expectation. Stand steady. What is unfolding next will confirm that this was not imagination. It was orchestration. Steadfast one. What you are experiencing now is the calm before visible manifestation. Archangel Michael is revealing that after a decree is released in the spiritual realm, there is often a short period of divine silence. The silence is not absence. It is alignment. It is the movement of unseen details into perfect position. You may notice that things feel unusually still. No dramatic changes yet. No obvious confirmation. But do not mistake quietness for delay. When God sends a fortune check, systems begin shifting behind the curtain. Conversations you are unaware of are taking place. Decisions are being influenced. Timelines are being rearranged. The enemy's strategy at this stage is subtle discouragement. Not loud attacks. Not obvious opposition. Just small whispers that say, maybe nothing is happening. This is where many people lose momentum. They pass the test of attention, but they fail the test of patience. Archangel Michael says this phase requires composure. You must remain internally steady even if externally everything looks the same. Your blessing is not dependent on visible signs. It is secured by divine authority. Remember how many times in the past you always gave up too early. How many times you assumed something would never change, only for it to shift unexpectedly later. This time will be no different, except the scale is greater. The fortune check carries weight because it represents accumulated reward. There is also purification happening within you. Increase amplifies character. If there is insecurity, it will become louder. If there is gratitude, it will become stronger. This waiting period is refining your response to abundance. You are being prepared to carry it without arrogance and to share it without fear. Your house will soon feel different. Not because walls change, but because atmosphere shifts. Peace will increase. Tension will decrease. Creative ideas will flow more freely. Archangel Michael stands at the entrance of your next level, ensuring that what enters your life aligns with your assignment. Do not compare your journey to others right now. Comparison weakens clarity. Your timeline is unique. Your breakthrough is custom designed. The fortune check prepared for you does not resemble someone else's package. It is tailored to your obedience, your sacrifices, and your prayers. There is also wisdom being downloaded into you quietly. Pay attention to new thoughts about organization, saving, investing, planning. These impressions are guidance. When heaven releases provision, it also releases instruction. Follow it carefully. Some relationships may subtly shift as you rise. That is natural. Growth changes dynamics. But do not cling to what was meant only for a previous season. Archangel Michael advises grace with boundaries. You can love people without allowing them to manage your future. The most powerful thing you can do right now is maintain gratitude as if the check has already cleared. Gratitude stabilizes faith. It prevents anxiety from creeping in. Speak thankfulness in advance. Whisper appreciation even before proof arrives. The reason this message came with urgency at the beginning is because urgency awakens awareness. But now that awareness has been secured, calm must replace urgency. You are not racing against time anymore. You are walking in alignment. The fortune check is moving through divine channels. Nothing can intercept what God has authorized. The only threat was distraction, and you overcame it. The only danger was disbelief, and you resisted it. Now comes expectancy. Expect conversations to shift in your favor. Expect unexpected opportunities. Expect relief in areas that have weighed on you heavily. Expect restoration in ways that feel almost surprising. Archangel Michael says something significant. This blessing will not just touch your finances. It will touch your confidence. It will remind you that God sees effort. It will confirm that obedience carries reward. Do not grow restless in this sacred pause. The seed has been planted. The decree has been issued. The transfer is in process. Stay grounded. Stay alert. Stay grateful. The next unfolding will bring visible confirmation that everything you sensed was real, and when it does, you will look back at this quiet moment and realize it was preparation for overflow. Anointed listener, there is a sacred tension building in the unseen realm, and you are closer to visible evidence than you realize. Archangel Michael is declaring that the movement has already begun. What felt silent was not inactivity. It was coordination. Heaven does not rush, but it does not delay without purpose either. Every second since you aligned your faith has been strategic. Right now, something is being recalculated in your favor. Numbers that once worked against you are being adjusted. Decisions that seem final are being reconsidered. There is divine influence touching areas you assumed were closed permanently. The fortune check that was approved is moving through channels you can't see, but you will soon see the results. However, this is the stage where discipline matters most. When breakthrough is near, distractions multiply. You may feel unusual emotional swings. One moment confident, the next uncertain. One moment excited, the next impatient. That fluctuation is not weakness. It is pressure releasing. Promotion stretches you before it settles you. Archangel Michael warns against impulsive decisions in this window. Do not make sudden moves out of anxiety. Do not spend what has not arrived. Do not speak negativity because results are not instant. The blessing is secured, but stewardship begins now. How you think today prepares you for how you will manage tomorrow. There is also something deeper unfolding. The fortune check is not just provision. It is vindication. There were moments when others underestimated you. Times when your ideas were dismissed. Seasons when your loyalty was not valued. God saw that. And when heaven restores, it restores openly. You will not have to announce your breakthrough. It will speak for itself. At the same time, humility must remain your foundation. Archangel Michael emphasizes that elevation without humility invites instability. Remember where you came from. Remember the prayers you prayed in quiet desperation. Let gratitude anchor you when success arrives. You may already notice subtle confirmations. Small financial relief. A conversation shifting positively. An opportunity resurfacing. These are not coincidences. They are previews. Heaven often sends previews before the full release to strengthen expectation. Now, engage intentionally with this moment. If this message is speaking directly to your situation, do not keep it to yourself. Like this video as a sign that you agree with the declaration. Share it with someone who has been waiting on their own breakthrough. Comment your faith statement below and declare that you are ready. Subscribe to this channel and stand with this mission so these prophetic messages continue reaching those who need encouragement. When you engage, you are amplifying faith, not just content. And listen closely, because what comes next is critical. There is a final layer of resistance attempting to test your stability. It may show up as a minor setback or an unexpected delay. Do not panic. This is not cancellation. It is confirmation that the shift is real. Opposition appears when movement threatens stagnation. Archangel Michael stands guard over your transition. The same authority that approved your fortune check is protecting its arrival. You are not fighting alone. You are not navigating blindly. There is divine oversight over every detail. Patience now is power. Calm now is strength. Faith now is acceleration. There is a reason you were told this was your last test. The previous stages required endurance. This stage requires composure. You have already proven loyalty. Now you prove maturity. Hold steady. The manifestation phase is approaching. And trust me, what is about to unfold will make the waiting feel small compared to the reward. Stay attentive, because the confirmation you have been hoping for is closer than you think. Faithful warrior, the air around your destiny is charged now, and what once felt distant is pressing closer with undeniable force. Archangel Michael is revealing that the manifestation phase has quietly begun. You may not see the full evidence yet, but the chain reaction has already started. When heaven releases a fortune check, it does not travel alone. It carries confirmation, alignment, and repositioning. There is movement in conversations you cannot hear. There are approvals forming in rooms you have never entered. There are opportunities circling your name without your awareness. The spiritual decree has crossed into practical reality, and the bridge between unseen and seen is shortening rapidly. But listen carefully. As manifestation approaches, clarity becomes essential. You must remain mentally and spiritually grounded. Excitement can be powerful, but unmanaged excitement can create premature decisions. Archangel Michael is instructing you to observe before you react. Not every opportunity is the fortune check. Not every door is the assigned door. Discernment will protect your elevation. This season requires emotional stability. You are not stepping into survival anymore. You are stepping into stewardship. The blessing is not meant to be consumed impulsively. It is meant to establish stability, security, and expansion. Begin thinking long-term. Begin envisioning how this increase can create structure rather than momentary excitement. There may also be sudden tests of character during this phase. Someone may provoke you unexpectedly. An old situation may resurface briefly. Do not interpret this as reversal. It is exposure. Sometimes unresolved patterns surface one final time before permanent closure. Respond differently than you would have before. Your response now confirms your growth. Archangel Michael says the fortune check is connected to restoration in your household. That means more than finances. It means peace replacing tension. It means clarity replacing confusion. It means confidence replacing anxiety. You will notice that your thoughts begin to align more positively without forcing them. That is evidence of internal shift. You must also prepare for visibility. Increase attracts attention. When your situation improves, others will notice. Some will be inspired. Some will question. Some will attempt to reconnect after distance. Guard your boundaries wisely. Elevation requires selective access. Here's a powerful truth emerging here. The urgency at the beginning of this message was about awareness. But now, awareness has turned into readiness. You are no longer wondering if something will happen. You are preparing for when it does. That shift in mindset is critical. Archangel Michael reveals that what is coming will surprise you in its timing. It may not follow your predicted schedule. It may arrive on an ordinary day, but it will carry unmistakable confirmation. You will sense immediately that this is what was promised. Remain grateful in advance. Gratitude opens space for multiplication. Speak thankfulness over your home. Speak peace over your finances. Speak clarity over your decisions. Words shape atmosphere, and atmosphere influences outcomes. There is also a strengthening happening within your spirit. You feel more stable than you did before. Less reactive, more observant. That is maturity forming. The last test did not just unlock a blessing, it refined your character. Be cautious of subtle fear that whispers, "What if it doesn't happen?" That voice is residual doubt trying to reclaim territory. You have already passed that stage. Replace that thought immediately with affirmation. Say internally, "What God approves, no one can cancel." The bridge between promise and manifestation is narrowing. Stay steady. Stay disciplined. Stay alert to small confirmations. They will increase. Archangel Michael stands firm in declaration. The decree remains active. The transfer remains authorized. The arrival remains imminent. The next unfolding will not require imagination. It will require recognition. And when you recognize it, you will understand why every stage of this journey was necessary. Watchful soul, The moment of visible confirmation is drawing so near that your spirit can almost sense it before your eyes can see it. Archangel Michael is declaring that the spiritual transaction has cleared. What remains now is physical manifestation. The fortune check that God approved is no longer in process. It is in arrival. There is a subtle shift happening in your environment. Conversations are aligning. Opportunities are resurfacing. Unexpected pathways are opening where there was once silence. You may even feel an unusual peace, as if something heavy has quietly lifted from your shoulders. That peace is not random. It is confirmation that divine authorization has become earthly movement. Understand this clearly. When heaven releases something significant, it often arrives in a way that tests humility. The blessing may not look dramatic at first. It may begin as a simple email, a call, a message, or a decision made quietly in your favor. But do not underestimate small beginnings. Many large doors open silently. Archangel Michael reveals that this fortune check carries multiplication potential. It is not just meant to solve a problem. It is meant to create momentum. The first release opens space for the next. The initial breakthrough unlocks further opportunities. What begins as relief can become expansion if stewarded wisely. You must resist the temptation to celebrate prematurely without strategy. Joy is necessary, but discipline sustains increase. Begin planning responsibly. Begin asking wise questions. Begin positioning yourself for longevity. This blessing is not a temporary rescue. It is a repositioning. There may be people who suddenly take interest in your life again. Pay attention to timing. When favor appears, so does attention. Guard your peace. Not everyone needs access to your next level. Share wisely. Move strategically. Archangel Michael is also revealing something deeper. The urgency at the beginning of this message was about preventing loss. If you had ignored it, distraction could have delayed alignment. But you stayed attentive. You remained engaged. That attentiveness has accelerated what was already yours. There is another layer unfolding. The fortune check symbolizes restored confidence. You will begin speaking differently, standing differently, deciding differently. The internal shift will be as powerful as the external reward. You are no longer negotiating with doubt. You are walking with assurance. Yet remain anchored in gratitude. Remember the nights you felt uncertain. Remember the moments you questioned whether breakthrough would ever come. Let those memories protect your humility. Let them remind you that this came from divine mercy, not human effort alone. Archangel Michael stands guard over the transfer, ensuring that what is yours reaches you without corruption. Nothing assigned to you will be intercepted. Nothing authorized for you will be misdirected. What God sends arrives intact. Prepare your household spiritually and practically. Organize your plans. Strengthen your discipline. Clarify your goals. When the check manifests fully, you must be ready to manage it with wisdom. The season of waiting is ending. The season of stewardship is beginning. Seal this moment in agreement. Type "I am ready for my release" in the comments if this confirmation speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 939 has just been activated over your life. And as this release begins to unfold, understand that every soul who hears this message is standing at their own threshold. When you sow into this mission through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal seed in the description, you are helping light reach someone who is still in their waiting season. Scripture declares that those who sow generously will reap generously, and that word is alive right now over you. I hear your heart saying, "I want to be part of God's movement," and this is your prophetic moment to act. Let your giving become a seed that opens rivers for others and multiplies harvest in your own house. as heaven has released provision toward you. Release provision toward His work. Step forward boldly and seal this alignment through your support today. Awakened One, you are now standing in the delicate space between promise fulfilled and responsibility awakened. Archangel Michael is revealing that the manifestation phase has begun touching your reality, even if it has not fully unfolded in front of you yet. The fortune check that was spoken of is no longer theoretical. It is moving in tangible form. You may have already noticed subtle confirmations. A conversation that shifted unexpectedly in your favor. A financial adjustment that brought relief. An opportunity that reappeared after being silent. These are not random events. They are signs that the decree has translated into motion. Heaven does not announce completion loudly. It reveals it progressively. But this is where wisdom must deepen. When increase approaches, emotions can become unpredictable. Excitement can mix with fear. Hope can mix with caution. The tension is natural when you step into unfamiliar territory. You have been accustomed to managing less. Now you must prepare to manage more. Archangel Michael says the greatest challenge at this level is not receiving the blessing, but sustaining it. Many pray for overflow, but few prepare for stewardship. The fortune check is not only about receiving, it is about multiplying. If handled with discipline, this release becomes foundation. If handled carelessly, it becomes fleeting. Take inventory of your habits. Observe your spending patterns, your thought patterns, your reactions to pressure. Elevation requires refinement. What worked in survival mode will not work in stewardship mode. You are transitioning from reacting to planning, from worrying to organizing. There is also a deeper emotional healing taking place. Financial strain often carries hidden wounds. Fear of lack, insecurity about stability, anxiety about the future. As provision arrives, those old fears may attempt to linger. Do not let them define your new season. The blessing is not fragile. It is authorized. Archangel Michael emphasizes something important. Do not announce your victory prematurely. Let your results speak quietly. Silence protects growth. Not every success needs immediate explanation. Protect the sacredness of what is unfolding. You may also feel a renewed sense of vision. Dreams you placed aside may begin resurfacing. Ideas you once dismissed may now feel possible again. That is because relief creates space for creativity. When survival pressure decreases, imagination returns. Pay attention to those revived dreams. They are connected to your next assignment. At the same time, guard against complacency. Just because a breakthrough has begun does not mean discipline can relax. Continue practicing gratitude daily. Continue aligning your words with faith. Continue managing wisely. Sustainability is built through consistency. Archangel Michael stands as guardian not only over what you receive but over how you grow. Growth at this stage must be intentional. Surround yourself with wisdom. Seek counsel when necessary. Plan long-term. The fortune check is the beginning of stability, not the end of effort. There may be one final moment of testing before full visibility. A minor delay. A small misunderstanding. Do not panic. These are often confirmations that you are crossing into new territory. When a door opens fully, it sometimes resists briefly before swinging wide. Remember how far you have come. The anxiety you once carried does not dominate you anymore. The doubt that once whispered loudly has softened. The fear that once controlled decisions no longer dictates your steps. That is transformation. Archangel Michael declares that your house is entering a season of visible calm. Bills that once caused tension will lose their power over your peace. Conversations that once felt heavy will lighten. Your posture will change because confidence will stabilize. Remain steady in this transition. What began as urgency has matured into responsibility. What began as warning has turned into preparation. What began as a test has resulted in authorization. The next unfolding will not just confirm provision. It will confirm promotion. And when it becomes undeniable, you will recognize that this journey was not about money alone. It was about maturity, alignment, and divine trust. Steady believer, you are entering the stretch where confirmation becomes undeniable. Archangel Michael is declaring that what was once sensed internally is about to become visible externally in a way that removes all remaining doubt. The fortune check is no longer a distant promise. It is positioning itself in your physical reality. There is a shift in your confidence lately. You may not have spoken about it openly, but you feel it. A quiet assurance. A sense that something is aligning behind the scenes. That inner steadiness is evidence that your spirit has accepted the transition. You are no longer bracing for disappointment. You are preparing for confirmation. However, this stage demands focus. When manifestation is near, distractions attempt to re-enter. Old habits try to resurface. Negative conversations attempt to pull you backward. This is not coincidence. It is resistance reacting to your elevation. Do not entertain it. Archangel Michael says your words matter greatly now. Avoid speaking doubt even as a joke. Avoid rehearsing worst-case scenarios. Avoid entertaining fear-based speculation. What you declare at this level influences the atmosphere around your blessing. Speak alignment. Speak gratitude. Speak expectation. You may also notice increased responsibility approaching. New decisions. New choices. New opportunities requiring wisdom. Do not feel overwhelmed. Promotion always stretches capacity. Stretching is uncomfortable, but it builds strength. The fortune check is connected to growth, and growth requires expansion of mindset. There is something important about timing here. The 1 minute left message at the beginning was about awakening urgency. Now that urgency has matured into readiness, you are not rushing anymore. You are positioned. That difference is powerful. Archangel Michael emphasizes stewardship again. When the increase becomes visible, resist the temptation to prove anything to anyone. Do not spend to impress. Do not announce to compete. Stability is built in quiet wisdom. Let your results speak naturally over time. If this message has been guiding you step by step, engage with it intentionally right now. Like this video as a declaration that you are aligned with your breakthrough. Share it with someone who is still in their waiting phase. Comment your testimony of expectation below. Subscribe to this channel and remain connected to this stream of spiritual encouragement. Your engagement strengthens this mission and keeps these declarations flowing to others who need clarity. And stay with this carefully, because what unfolds next will bring clarity you did not expect. You are about to see how even the delays you experienced were protection. Some doors that did not open earlier would have led to instability. Some opportunities that fell apart would have limited your growth. What felt like rejection was redirection. Archangel Michael stands firmly as witness that nothing was wasted. The waiting built resilience. The pressure built discipline. The uncertainty built faith. Now those qualities are merging with provision. You are stepping into a season where decisions must be intentional. Think beyond immediate relief. Think about long-term security. Think about how this blessing can create foundation not just for you, but for those connected to you. Your rise has ripple effects. There may be a final confirmation sign coming very soon. Something specific that makes you pause and realize this was divinely orchestrated. When it happens, receive it calmly. Do not react with panic or disbelief. Simply acknowledge that God has completed what He initiated. Archangel Michael declares that this is the stage where stability replaces striving. You will no longer chase desperately. You will move strategically. You will no longer operate from fear of loss. You will operate from confidence of provision. Remain grounded. Remain grateful. Remain disciplined. The next unfolding will seal what has already been authorized. And when it does, you will understand fully why this had to be your last test before visible increase. Resolute heart, you have now entered the hour where confirmation begins to speak louder than imagination. Archangel Michael is declaring that the cycle has officially shifted. What once felt like anticipation is transforming into realization. The fortune check that was spoken into your atmosphere is no longer approaching. It is arriving. There is a distinct difference between hoping and knowing. In the beginning, you hoped something would change. Then you sensed something was aligning. Now, you are beginning to know. That quiet certainty forming inside you is evidence that manifestation is no longer theoretical. It is tangible. You may already be witnessing signs that cannot be ignored. A decision that once seemed closed is suddenly reopened. A financial path that felt blocked is now clear. An opportunity appears that fits too perfectly to be coincidence. These are confirmations that the decree has reached completion. Archangel Michael says the final stage before full visibility often feels surreal. You may question whether it is truly happening. You may replay past disappointments in your mind as a form of self-protection. But this is not the same season. The lessons you learned during delay have prepared you for stability. Your house is entering a different atmosphere. Where tension once lingered, relief is beginning to settle. Where uncertainty once dominated, clarity is emerging. The spiritual weight that hovered over your finances is dissolving. This is not temporary comfort. It is structural change. Yet even now, humility must anchor you. Do not allow success to erase gratitude. Do not allow provision to weaken prayer. The same discipline that sustained you in scarcity must continue in abundance. Stewardship does not end at arrival. It begins there. Archangel Michael emphasizes that what hath been released is not fragile. You do not need to guard it with fear. You guard it with wisdom. Continue planning responsibly. Continue speaking life over your resources. Continue walking with integrity. There may be people who suddenly treat you differently. Some will show respect that was absent before. Some may attempt to align themselves with your new level. Be kind, but be discerning. Elevation attracts attention, but not all attention carries good intention. Remember, this journey was not only about a financial check. It was about internal transformation. Compare who you were at the beginning of this message to who you are now. Less anxious, more grounded, more aware. That growth is permanent. Archangel Michael reveals something powerful. The last test was necessary to remove the final layer of insecurity. If this blessing had arrived earlier, you might have mishandled it emotionally. But now you are steady. Now you are prepared. Now you can receive without panic. The urgency at the beginning served its purpose. It awakened you. It sharpened your focus. It prevented distraction from stealing alignment. Now calm confidence replaces urgency. You are no longer racing against time. You are walking in fulfillment. Very soon, there will be a moment where you pause and realize the shift is complete. It may happen quietly. It may happen in a simple setting. But you will feel it unmistakably. A sense that the waiting is over. a sense that stability has begun. Archangel Michael stands as witness to your endurance. What you overcame was not small. The doubts you silenced were not weak. The discipline you practiced was not easy. That is why the reward carries weight. Stay anchored in gratitude as the final confirmation becomes visible. Let humility protect your growth. Let wisdom guide your decisions. Let peace govern your household. What comes next will not feel like survival anymore. It will feel like structure. It will feel like security. It will feel like a new chapter firmly open. And when that chapter settles into place, you will understand fully that the fortune check was never just about money. It was about maturity, trust, and divine timing aligning perfectly in your life. Victorious soul, this is the moment where everything comes together. Archangel Michael is declaring that the cycle has closed and a new one has begun. What was once announced as urgent has now become evident. The fortune check that God authorized over your life has reached its destination, and more importantly, you have reached yours. Look at how far you have come in this journey. You began with urgency. You felt the weight of a final test. You sensed the warning that if you ignored the moment, something precious could slip away. But you did not ignore it. You leaned in. You listened. You aligned your spirit. And because of that, what was written in the unseen has manifested in the seen. This was never about superstition or fear. It was about attention and agreement. The message said you had 1 minute left, not to pressure you, but to awaken you. That minute symbolized a decision window, and you chose awareness over distraction. That choice shifted your atmosphere. Archangel Michael reveals that the fortune check represents 3 things in your life: restoration, responsibility, and recognition. Restoration for what you endured in silence. Responsibility for what you are now entrusted with. Recognition that heaven has seen your faithfulness even when others did not. There will be tangible evidence of this shift. Financial relief that feels real. Stability that feels unfamiliar but welcome. Opportunities that align naturally instead of forcing themselves into your life. This is not luck. This is alignment. Do not forget the lessons of the waiting season. Scarcity taught you discipline. Delay taught you patience. Pressure taught you endurance. Now abundance will teach you stewardship. Carry those lessons forward. They are part of your protection. Archangel Michael stands guard over your increase, but he also reminds you that maturity must continue. Do not slip back into old thinking. Do not allow fear of loss to control you. What God establishes, He sustains when you walk in wisdom. There may be moments where you look around your house and realize something intangible has changed. The air feels lighter. The conversations feel calmer. The future feels possible again. That is the mark of divine intervention. This truly was your last test before this level. The urgency awakened you. The alignment secured you. The discipline prepared you. And now the manifestation confirms you. Let gratitude be your constant companion. Speak thanks daily. Walk humbly. Plan wisely. Give generously. The blessing was not meant to stop with you. It was meant to flow through you. Seal this entire journey now. Type IT is done in the comments if you receive this fulfillment. Lesson code 1444 is now released over your life and household. And as this chapter closes in victory, hear this clearly. When you sow into a word that unlocked your season, you become part of unlocking seasons for others. The Lord says, as you water others, you yourself will be watered, and that promise is alive over you now. I sense your heart saying, I want to help this light reach more people, and this is your appointed moment to act. When you release a super thanks, join membership, or send a seed through the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a platform. You are igniting a harvest of hope across nations. Just as a fortune check was released to your house, let your seed release open heavens over someone else's. Those who build God's work will see their own houses established firmly. Step forward in obedience and seal this covenant through your giving today.